What's up, everyone? I see you. I see you, Shirley Nicholson. I got your text message. I see you, Deborah Johnson. I see you, Rosanna Bivens. I see all of you. I thought I would come in a little different today. I want to just give some shout outs this morning. So I see you all coming in here. For those of you who are already in here, do me a huge favor. Can you hit that like button? Make sure you have subscribed as well. And if you have another device, go ahead and send somebody a word to say, hey, jump on here on News in Motion. I believe it's going to be pretty deep today. I see you, Shardinia, as well. So again, hit that like button. If you don't mind doing that, if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And use another device and send out a text message or something and tell some people to come see what we're doing over here. I would greatly appreciate that. So while you all are doing that, y'all know what we do. Let's get started.
News in Motion.
All right, y'all, we're back. Hopefully you reached out to a few people to say, hey, we're on using another device. I see you, Kim Edmondson. Good morning, sunshine. How are you? Y'all, today I believe is going to take us a little different direction. We are going to talk about voting. We are actually 1 week from today. People will be voting in the general election if they have not taken advantage of early voting on next Tuesday. So that is happening, y'all. Today is Tuesday, October the 29th. Can y'all believe we are through October? I see you, Adrian, coming in here. So it's Tuesday, October 29th. For those of you who are new to this platform, I am your host, Gail Dudley. We have been doing this since June 2024. And actually, if I look at the real records, it's really May, but who knows? Yes, Kim Edmondson, 7 days. This is what we call That's Happening Tuesday. And there is a lot that's happening. So let me start with this question first, especially if you've listened to any of the rhetoric over the last 72 hours that pretty much took place in New York at the Madison Square Garden. So here's my question. It may appear to be a simple question to you, but I believe it's a rather challenging question today. You ready? Ready for the question? The question is, how are you doing? How are you doing? If you are at all vulnerable, go ahead and put that in the chat. Hello to all of our audio listeners as well. I would still love to know how you're doing as well. So you know you can always email me at newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com. Again, that's newsinmotionwithgail, and that's GAIL @gmail.com. How are you doing? Please put that in the chat. I see you, Regina. I see you, Robert Holman. Robert, I have to be honest with you. When I came into the studio this morning, which is also my office, and did not see you already in the queue, I was like, well, where is Robert Holman? How's he doing? Let me check on Robert Holman. So grand rising to you too. I'm so used to seeing you up there in the chat. So please let me know, how are you doing? How are you doing? And I'll start. That was a lot. This weekend was a lot. I had not at all been concerned about the election since July. I had not been concerned at all. Taking my time, and no, I did not watch the entire 4 or 5 hours of that, but just hearing clips, checking in, going off, because I believe we need to see what's being said on all sides. For the first time, I'm concerned not about who's going to win. I'm more concerned about what's going to happen. I'm more concerned. So I had to go into a place and just pray and just chill. That's how I'm doing. So I'm a little, not weary, but just concerned. The word I have is concern. Deborah Johnson said, worn out from all the commercials, waiting for this election and all the rhetoric to be over. I'm with you. Kim Edmondson says, I'm not surprised. Adrian, I'm maintaining my sanity, pushing away from every soundbite as I prepare for election day duties. And I'm praying for you. If you are an election worker, please put your name in the chat as well so that we can be covering you in prayer. Good morning, Marion Jackson. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So that's my question today. And whatever point that you come in here, or if you happen to be watching the replay and you want to put your comment in there, please do so that we can be praying for you. But that's where I'm at today. All right, I'm slow walking. I have time today. Hopefully you can hang out with me the entire time because we're going to break down Michelle Obama's speech towards the end of today's segment. But a call to vote. I got to talk about voting, y'all. We are 1 week away. A call to vote. Now, y'all, the chatter is clear. We're hearing it everywhere. People are talking about it everywhere. Many polling locations more than likely will not be open due to a decrease in workers. So please go vote this week. If you have early voting, go vote this week, please. Or if you have it for this weekend, go vote this weekend. Kim Edmondson says, I'll be working the election polls, staying focused on the assignment. Yes, stay focused on the assignment. So we'll be lifting you up in prayer as well. So y'all listen, if you need a ride, call somebody. Okay. If you are saying, well, I can't vote early because you work or whatever you have to do. And if you don't have a weekend free and you have to do it on next Tuesday, November the 5th, please, if you need a ride, let somebody know, please. Please check and see if your polling location is going to be open. If you have questions, ask somebody. Please, 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 I'm begging you to ask somebody. Also, y'all, Puerto Rico is part of that rhetoric out of the Madison Square Garden. Let's stand with them today and let's vote with them in mind. If you live in Puerto Rico, they cannot vote for the president. That's another story. We'll get to that later. But there is a lot of Puerto Ricans that are in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, specifically Philadelphia, North Carolina, Michigan, New York. So make sure you're voting with them in mind. And y'all just gotta let me get through this, okay? Because this is important. If you live in one of these places, you can now go vote. Kentucky, yours will start Thursday, October 31st, and yours will end on Saturday the 2nd. So it's a very small window in Kentucky. Oklahoma, in-person absentee voting starts on Wednesday, November the 30th. That's tomorrow, and it will end on Saturday. You have a small window as well. Washington, D.C., early voting began on yesterday, and you have until Sunday, November the 3rd. So you have time in there. I see you, Jackie. Good morning to you. Also, y'all got to give me a moment to get through this, and then I'll get to the news. But this, too, is news. Now, if you have a ballot that you are returning, which means you're mailing it or you're taking it to the drop box. If you have a ballot, please pay attention to this. You are approaching your deadline, okay? Alabama, November the 5th, you have to do it by 12 noon. It can't be 12:01. But if you have it today, go ahead and do it today. Y'all, I'm giving you these dates, but if you can at all do it today, do it today. Because as you know, which I'll get to in a few moments, they're burning up ballot boxes. Like, they are setting fire to ballot boxes. Like, who is doing this and why? Alaska, November the 5th. Arizona, November the 5th. You have until 7 p.m. to turn in that ballot, not 7:01. You have 7 p.m. Just go today. Please go today, y'all. California, November the 5th. Colorado, November the 5th, 7 p.m. If I'm giving you a time, that's when they are shutting down the boxes, okay? If I'm giving you a time, that's when they're shutting down the boxes. Connecticut, November the 5th at 8 p.m., Delaware, November the 5th at 8 p.m. Florida, November the 5th at 7 p.m. Georgia, November the 5th at 7 p.m. Hawaii, November the 5th at 7 p.m. Idaho, November the 5th at 8 p.m. Illinois, November the 5th. They don't have a time here. Indiana, November the 5th at 6 p.m. Iowa, November the 5th at 8 p.m. Kansas, November the 5th. They don't have a time there. Kentucky, November the 5th at 6 p.m. Louisiana, November the 4th at 4:30 p.m. Maine, November the 5th at 8 p.m. Maryland, November the 5th. There's not a time there. Massachusetts, November the 5th. There's not a time there either. Michigan, November the 5th at 8 p.m. Minnesota, November the 5th. No time. That's marked. Mississippi, the same. November the 5th, no time. Missouri, November the 5th at 7 p.m. Montana, November the 5th at 8 p.m. I see you, Davia. Good morning. Nebraska, November the 5th at 8 p.m. Central Time. Now, let me pause right here. And again, I'm getting to the news in a moment, but this too is news. This is returning your ballots by mail. When I saw this with Nebraska saying Central Time, I don't know for sure if the other times are Eastern. So all I can ask you to do is to check your Secretary of State's website to see what time these need to be delivered. But again, can y'all please do it today? And we don't have to worry about November the 5th. Nevada, November the 5th, doesn't have a time. New Hampshire, November the 5th at 5 p.m. New Jersey, November the 5th at 8 p.m. New Mexico, November the 5th at 7 p.m. Now, New York, I am kind of confused here, but you have 2 days. You have November the 5th and then November the 12th. I believe the November the 12th are those from overseas, but again, check your Secretary of State's office, okay? Where am I? North Carolina, November the 5th at 7:30 p.m. North Dakota and Ohio, both North Dakota and Ohio, November the 4th. November the 4th. Oklahoma, November the 5th at 7 p.m. Oregon, November the 5th at 8 p.m. Pennsylvania, November the 5th at 8 p.m. Rhode Island, November the 5th at 8 p.m. South Carolina, November the 5th at 7 p.m. South Dakota, November the 5th, no time. Tennessee, November the 5th, no time. Texas, November the 5th, no time. Utah and Vermont, November the 4th, no times listed. Virginia, you have the same as New York. Yours is November the 5th and November the 8th by 12 p.m. Again, I don't know why you have two different time dates there. I can only believe it's because of the second time being overseas. But again, check with your Virginia Secretary of State's office. But truth be told, mail it today. Please drop it off today. Washington, November the 5th. There's no time. West Virginia, November the 5th and November the 11th. Same thing. Just do it today. Okay, please. And then Wisconsin, November the 5th at 8 p.m. Wyoming, November the 5th at 7 p.m. And Washington, D.C., November the 5th, no time. So, y'all, that's a list. There's a list for you. Marion Jackson says, I read the article about the fire set to the ballots boxes in Oregon and Washington, and you can add Arizona to that. All right, y'all, on the ballot, so that some people can have an understanding, there are 82 state Supreme Court seats that people are voting for. There are 371 mayoral seats. There are 2,000 plus prosecutors and sheriff seats that are being voted upon. And state legislators, y'all, there are 5,807. And we know that in Congress, every seat on the rep side or the House side, every seat is open for re-election. In the news, again, we're talking about what's happening, the chatter. Some of this chatter, I don't want to know. It's like, can I delete these? But I don't want to because I want to see it so I can share it with all of you. U.S. intel is warning of extremists inspired by conspiracy theory and the threat they pose to elections. So with that being said, let's not operate in the spirit of fear. Just go vote early. And that's what they're really calling people to do. If you have the opportunity to vote early, vote early. You have registered, so go vote. Be a participant in this voting process and cast your ballot. Also, there's a lot of conversation out here about Jeff Bezos. Washington Post, it's now up to, I believe, 300,000 subscribers that have said, peace, two fingers, we're out. They said that his staff is coming out saying he voted, he met with the former president, and within hours, he killed the endorsement that was in its final draft of Vice President Kamala Harris. So people are really upset about all of that. So many people are calling for protests. And hear me, I get the protest. But a couple things. Number one, understand this will never reach him. Okay, he's a billionaire. Okay, but I understand. But I want to share this with you all. canceling the Washington Post and Amazon, because he's still on the board of Amazon. He's still the chair of Amazon. Canceling that will actually hurt freelance journalists like myself and authors who use Amazon as a platform. And it also hurts small business owners who uses Amazon as a platform. So please think about the who you're really going to hurt immediately by protesting, by boycotting those platforms. Now, I believe in protests and I believe in doing what you think is best. But trust me, it's not touching him. It's touching the small business owners. It's hurting, especially in a holiday season. Authors is also hurting freelance journalists. Now, as you may have read, a lot of journalists have since resigned from the Washington Post after all this happened because they saw what happened. But you have to make that decision. If I could move all of my books off of there, I would do it, but I really can't do it. It's not even feasible. I can't even do that in this season. It's too late going into the holiday season. So I want y'all to think about the way you protest. Some people are saying go directly to journalists or go directly to authors or go directly to small business owners. That's a partial answer, yes. But also understand many people may not have the websites or they may not have the distribution. Many of them may click back through to Amazon, so it's still not making a difference. So you have to truly think about how you're doing this. Protest, absolutely. How? That's the question. That's the question. Marianne says, wow, that doesn't make sense. Don't they realize they destroyed all votes in the ballot boxes? Yep, I'm going to get to that in a moment. Kim Edmondson says, wow, that's disappointing. It is extremely disappointing. And he did do that. And so that goes back to some of the rhetoric from Madison Square Garden the other day. Trump's rally, one of his largest, at Madison Square. I believe the place was packed out in Madison Square Garden. That rhetoric. And so they're starting to talk about those who normally endorse a candidate, they have not endorsed a candidate, including Warren Buffett, that he has not endorsed a candidate and he has always endorsed a candidate. Washington Post has always endorsed a candidate. It was in its final draft. And after this meeting with Trump, they say Jeff Bezos nicked it. He said, nope, we're not going to endorse it. And it was getting ready to go out. So different journalists have decided on their own to put out their own endorsement as an employee there. And we don't know if they're going to still have their jobs or not because he told them not to do that. So this is still unfolding. So we'll just have to wait and see how things are going. Deborah says, I agree with you, Gail. We have to have mindful protests. We have to. Already, if you're watching any Amazon influencers, people, how they make their money, stay-at-home moms, single dads, single parents. They're on TikTok and they're on Instagram saying, please, if y'all shut this down, you're shutting down my business at one of the most high profitable times of the year. So again, you have to do what's best for you. I understand it, but is there another way of doing it? And y'all know I'm a protester. I'm a protester, but this is going to hurt a lot of people at their high income season. So be mindful of that. All right, y'all. This is unbelievable going to what Marian has been sharing here. Y'all, the rhetoric must stop. It must stop. AP reports, police says fires set at ballot boxes in Oregon and Washington are connected, and they have ID'd a suspect. And then most recently in Arizona. The fire damaged 3 boxes inside Vancouver, Washington. Earlier Monday, they destroyed hundreds of ballots. The device were attached to the outside of the boxes. That means the device to set the fire. Authorities said in a news conference in Portland that enough material from the device was recovered to show that the 2 fires on Monday were connected. Now, they're calling everyone to do this. They're now going to start, there's some legislation to get some guards out there. But I'm like, this is America. Are we really doing this? But this is what they want you to do. Voters are encouraged to check their ballot status online. Okay, so if you know you dropped your ballot anywhere, even if there wasn't a fire, follow your ballot. Okay, check your ballot status online, and you can do this. This is in Washington. You can do this at votewa.gov. This is Washington, votewa.gov, to track its return status. Regardless of where you live, you can go to your Secretary of State's office to follow your ballot. If you kept that one piece of paper of how to complete your ballot, there's a website on that paper that tells you how to track your ballot. So track your ballot. They're saying if you do not see a mark as received, voters can print a replacement ballot or visit their local elections department for a replacement. Now, these are Secretary of State's officials that are coming forth telling you how to do this. Yeah, I know this is a different news in motion, y'all. This is going to be a lot of content. This is happening on Tuesday, but we need to know. We need to know. So I want to slow walk you here. I want to slow walk us through all of this. Again, we're not going to let fear dictate what's happening, but we have to be mindful. Yes, drop boxes are safe. But if you have the opportunity to drop it at the actual election office, do that if you can do that. Again, those dates I gave you, don't wait till November the 5th or 4th or 3rd. Do it now. If you have time today, do it now. But that's what you can do to check to see if your ballot has been received. All right, let's turn to Elon Musk for a moment. A couple of things here, and I'm going to say this carefully. Kim says, we need to know. Listen, I'm trying. Hey, Devontae, what's up? Kim Edmondson, I try. And Kim Edmondson, I want to personally thank you for your ongoing support. Seriously. Thank you, sis. Thank you. All right, y'all. Earlier this month, we heard about Elon Musk. And I want to say this carefully, but it's truthful. Elon Musk is technically considered a migrant from South Africa. He's so heavily involved in this election with Donald Trump. I listened to his speech at Madison Square Garden and was shook afterwards. I was listening for key words. I was listening to exactly what he was saying and how he was saying. And all I could do was say, God, hear my prayers. Hear our prayers. He shook me. I got to be honest with y'all. So you know he's doing this $1 million sweepstake for registered swing state voters. Well, the Philadelphia District Attorney, Larry Kasner, told the group to lawyer up. He's like, we ain't doing this. He said that this is illegal, and it is illegal. They're calling it an illegal lottery scheme. That's what they're calling it. And they're like, enough with this. And I'm glad they're calling him out. And y'all know DOJ sent a letter as well last week. But he's like, he doesn't care. He's going to do this anyway. So he is continuing. And so then his response, Elon Musk's response back was, he has since donated, since this suit, an additional $75 million to his super PAC, which supports the former president's campaign and now is appearing with him around different rallies. Now, the thing is, this $75 million to his super PAC, people are now questioning his super PAC. They're wanting to know, well, what exactly is this super PAC about? Are they funneling money through there to still pay this $1 million? So there's a lot going on here. And then, as we know, and it has come out and it was shared when he was introduced at Madison Square Garden, that Donald Trump's administration says that they're going to make Elon Musk the head of a proposed government efficiency commission. We should be very concerned. Referring to his potential role as, they're calling him Secretary of Cost Cutting. I'm sorry, you paid $47 billion for a platform that you're somewhat destroying? Okay, so we're going to put you in charge of cost cutting. Okay. And Elon Musk has shared that he envisions slashing the federal budget, y'all, by $2 trillion. That's with the T dollars. I just want y'all to go back and watch movies from apartheid in South Africa, okay? Because it's the similar language, okay? Similar language. So I want to talk about that. Kim Edmondson says, why is he donating so much? That's a great question. Remember the time Elon Musk said he had enough money to wipe away homelessness and food insecurity? And then all of a sudden he backed out? Yeah, I just want to know. All right, so now I want to move to Michelle Obama's speech. All I can say is wow, 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 wow. And I want to start with these words. I'm pulling out different quotes. I want to start, and I want y'all to talk back to me, please, if you can. I'm pulling out different quotes. She says, I am asking you from the core of my being to take our lives seriously. That's a quote from her. Another quote, she says, to the men who love us, talking about women, let me just try to paint a picture of what it will feel like in America. The wealthiest nation on earth keeps revoking basic care from its women and how it will affect every single woman in your life. So many people think this is a single issue vote, and I keep posting it, I'm sharing it. And as I'm sharing it, I want y'all to know I'm getting pushback, I'm getting attacked, I'm getting inbox messages telling me things like Jesus doesn't love me anymore, that I have denounced Christ, that I have lost it. I mean, if I even showed y'all half of the messages I'm getting, and I'm just like, okay. So when something happens to you, like, let's be honest here. Let's look at this. We cannot be a single issue voter. So let me keep going. Even women, and I think I shared this last week, if you are no longer in the baby making stage of life, your information will still be a part of the data that was in Project 2025 that I read to y'all a couple of weeks ago. And you will be counted. So if there's something you need, and they're like, no, this falls under the line of XYZ, you won't get that. And you could lay on a table and die as well. Okay? I just want to make sure we're understanding what is all involved in this. I am begging y'all to read that section out of 2025. Davia says the top 3 billionaires supporting Trump all have apartheid roots from Africa, things that make you go, It's very concerning, David. When I listened to him at Madison Square Garden and was looking and listening and hearing the rhetoric, and then I was going to research different words, phrases that he used, I became extremely concerned. Extremely concerned. And I don't think there's a disconnect somewhere, and I don't understand this disconnect. She went on and dealt with women's health. This is Michelle Obama. And these are all quotes. She says, we will see more doctors hesitating or shying away from providing life-saving treatments because they are worried about being arrested. More medical students are reconsidering even pursuing women's health at all. More OBGYN clinics without enough doctors to meet demand, closing their doors, leaving untold number of women in communities throughout this country without a place to go for basic gynecological care, which in turn will leave millions of us at risk of undiagnosed medical issues like cervical cancer, womb cancer. And she goes, this is real. And she goes and say, I recognize there's a lot of angry, disillusioned people out here upset with the slow pace of change. And I get it. It is reasonable to be frustrated. We all know we have a lot more to do in this country. But to anyone out there thinking about sitting out this election or voting for Donald Trump or a third-party candidate, Jill Stein, Cornel West, in protest because you're fed up, let me warn you. These are her words. I added Cornel West and Jill Stein. Your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, I'm going to add sister, niece, cousin, friend, we as women will become collateral damage in your rage. Y'all, this speech really spoke to me. Even the speeches in Houston, where by the way they was having a straight up party in Houston. I'm like, that's it. This is about women. This is about democracy, but this is also about women. Marion Jackson says this is not a single issue election. Democracy, healthcare, voting rights, education is on the ballot. You are absolutely correct, Marion. Um, she goes on to say, and I want to make sure I say this. I shared this in a Bible study that I did with the church on this past Thursday. I was invited to come and talk about voting. And I was giving them, I gave them the scripture, the government is on his shoulders, talking about God being the Prince of Peace. And I was talking about the government is upon his shoulders. So we got to trust that. And I talked about the shalom, the peace of God. And I shared with women, and it was important. I said, your vote is private. Your vote is private. No one knows. No one will. Your husband, significant other, they can't go in and see how you voted. Now, literature comes to your home all the time, but so what? I get literature from everybody. Your vote is private. So she says, she really spoke of men who are domineering partners and told women that casting a vote is a private matter. In her quote, she says, regardless of political views of your partner, you get to choose. You get to choose. Okay? So take the kids to school and go on, stop by and get your vote on. When you get home, he says, we voting on tomorrow? Oh, babe, I already did that. I did that. I was out, didn't know your schedule. I did that. I went ahead, I ain't telling you to lie to your husband, but I did that. She also dealt with how some are treating VP Harris. She says, so I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to this erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse. All of this while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all. She did say y'all at the end of that. And I think Van Jones said it best last week. He gets to be lawless. She has to be flawless. And then her another quote, she says, can someone tell me why we are once again holding Kamala to a higher standard than her opponent? And we have to ask ourselves this question. And then she gets down to her final quote at where I started. I am asking y'all from the core of my being to take our lives seriously. Please do not put our lives in the hands of politicians. We are the ones with the knowledge and experience to know what we need. So please, please do not hand our fate over to the likes of Trump, who knows nothing about us, who has shown deep contempt for us because a vote for him is a vote against us. She was extremely clear with that, and I was very grateful for that. I'm not for sure if many of you saw my Facebook and Instagram post the other day with an image of the former guy. And my post said, I'm going to say this again, we cannot be single issue voters this election cycle. There's too much on the line, starting with democracy itself. I go on in my post and say, I keep asking how anyone who has been sexually harassed, abused, or silenced by an aggressor can vote for a convicted felon convicted 34 times. I keep wondering how anyone whose story of sexual abuse or harassment has been dismissed, or whose friends, family, co-workers, and church community pray for justice for survivors, could cast a vote for someone found liable by a jury of his peers for sexually abusing a Vice columnist, E. Jean Carroll, in 1996. And now a 27th person has come forward. I believe them. Going into my inspirational message, it may not be an inspirational message, but I want y'all to hear me today. And maybe this will inspire people to talk about it. Maybe that's where the inspiration is. I was trying to figure out why I was so passionate about all of this, and why for one of the first times I'm really sharing in conversations about some things. When I was 14 years old, y'all know I'm a swimmer, straight up swimmer. And I was headed to the Olympics, as quiet as it's kept. I had the highest score highest time in practice on a albatross team, and I was practicing for to compete with the to get onto the team of the USA swimmers. When I was 14, I'm now 59. My coach harassed me. Nothing ever happened. Actually, it was the janitor, female white janitor, who saved me. Who says, "I need you to get your stuff and come with me," because she had overheard a conversation. But even up to then, I was being harassed constantly by my white Christian coach, married with children. Nothing. He would make advances or whatever, and I was oblivious to some degree. Let me just be honest with you all. But now when I think back to that, I think about, wow, that's tied to possibly gaining weight. That's tied to possibly past thoughts. That's tied to, I love swimming, but I don't swim that much. That's tied to when I go swimming, sometimes I can get a flash and I like get out the water. That kind of thing happens. How in the hell can I vote for anybody that has sexually assaulted anyone or have been found liable by their peers? I can't do that. I can't do that. And, so to all of you who are in my inbox saying all types of crazy things, if that was your sister, your daughter, your mother, your niece, your cousin, whether male or female, how could you allow that into the oval who will dictate how we live and move? Like, seriously. Now, have our being is all about God, but living and moving and things that we can do and can't do, and being in our OBGYN office, how? I'm trying to understand how. These are things we need to think about in this election. If you voted, great. If you haven't voted yet and you're thinking about going the other way, I'm begging you. Okay, step back and breathe. A single issue is what many people are saying, but he's not going to allow this. He turned over Roe v. Wade. Okay, but there's more. My life, and this is where I'm going today. My life, I'm using mine, and mine is a different story than many people. I get it. But my life, isn't this about my life? Is my life just as important? We're talking about pro-life. Is my life not as important? Are the lives of people who get harassed or raped, are their lives not important? Isn't that pro-life? Y'all, seriously, we can deal with the other things that you are dealing with, that you're thinking about on a local and state level. You can go to your representatives. You can go to town hall meetings. You can get it all the way up to Congress so that they can vote. It can go back to the Supreme Court. That can happen. It can. But we have to understand, and all I can tell you to do is read Project 2025. Read it. I don't care how much he has tried to distance himself in there. His name is in there over 300 times. His vice president wrote the foreword to Project 2025. Y'all, reading, that's what they're doing. They want to make their we don't read. We better read. I know it's too many pages to read before Tuesday. Skim through it. I have the link. If you have Friday Rundown, you have the link. Just in the tab, search Trump. You will see how many times his name comes up. And yes, they have scrubbed that website, but I still have the link to the PDF. That still works. Y'all, there's so much. So this is my call to action, which is an inspirational message. Pray before you vote. Pray. Pray before you vote. Adrian says, PTSD. Davia says, thank you for your vulnerability, Gail. Truth is powerful. Listen, my husband and I had never told him this story until after watching the Madison Square Garden. I was like, what? So I told him, I said, it's not I started out this way, Davia. This isn't a big deal, but let me tell you why I was wrestling in the living room about this. He said, that is a big deal. He said, how old were you? And I said, I thought it was late 13, but I realized after talking to my parents, I was 14. And I remember, I can see that janitor. She was like, no, baby, you're not doing this today. I need you to get your stuff. I stopped your dad. You're going to go back out here to the car. Like, what is going on? And then how my coach grabbed me. Like, you're not going anywhere. I was like, praise be to God. And he always set my time to be the last practice. Like there would be different teams that were practicing, and he would always set my time. So my time was always going into the latest to where people were pretty much clearing out. I was too young. I didn't know that. Okay. I didn't connect with it. And I sat back and I was like, wow, she saved me. A white old woman janitor, y'all saved me. I wish I could find her today and thank her. She saved me. She overheard a conversation. Today, I don't know the details of that conversation, but I knew from her something was about to happen. Something was about to happen. And then the emotional toil. When I would say, well, I can't, my dad wants me to do, well, I can take you home. But my dad wasn't having that. Even before I knew the other things. He was like, well, no. My dad was like, no, I'll be here to pick her up. I'm sitting right outside in the parking lot, whatever that conversation was. And when that would happen, he would say things to me. Like, you know what, you're picking up a little weight. I'm not picking up any weight because you had to stay a certain weight to be able to race, to be able to train, to be able to go forward with that. And I dealt with this I don't know why I'm going through all this, but I dealt with this the other day. And I was telling my husband, I was like, I really could have been an Olympian because I did have the best time. But my husband was like, you can't, I don't want you to go back there. He goes, you were saved from something that could have been very damaging to you. He said, it was already damaging. And all you've done had been suppressed, I have suppressed it. So then my husband said this, and I want y'all to hear this. He says, well, maybe you should go back to counseling and talk about this. Have you never shared? I said, I've never shared it. I said, even when I would be on the tip of sharing this, I would suppress it again. He said, well, maybe now that you're free to share it, part of that freedom, he said, now maybe you need to go back and talk to somebody because this is probably connected to a whole lot of other things. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are suppressing something, there's something that's a connection there for you, deal with it. But I tell you this, if that dude gets in office, I'm not sure how we're gonna handle it. But I do know that God still sits on the throne. That I know. Kim Edmondson said, pray and vote. Kim Edmondson says we have to stop overlooking horrible behavior. Merritt think yes we do. Marion says the vote is about our lives. Read Project 2025. Reading is fundamental. Adrian says let them in. Let them in, and we women will all be fighting to keep our ability to vote. Not on my watch. Look, I'm not going back. Marion Jackson said, pray before you vote and continue to pray and believe God will answer your prayers. Dr. Annette, good morning. She says, thank you for keeping News 100. That's all I know. But thank you for recognizing that. With fact-checking information, continuously educating us and encouraging us the heed to call to action. Mary Jackson says, absolutely, Kim. And then praying for you and with you. Hey, thank you. Listen, when you start working through that, and it didn't help. It didn't help that I had just watched Reasonable Doubt. And let me talk about this, and then I'm out of here, I promise y'all. Let me talk about this real quick. I got some pushback on that too. I can't believe you put out there to watch Reasonable Doubt with all that sexual content and cussing. Listen, you hear it and see it all the time. Y'all, if Christians don't start talking about these things, and we wondering why we're losing people and why people aren't coming, because we're not being real and upfront with these things. You can still watch the show. You get to that part, and if you can't handle it, all right, walk away, go get you a cup of coffee or whatever, and come back and watch it or fast forward it. That's the beauty of Hulu, of streaming platform. You can fast forward it. But listen, what's in Reasonable Doubt, and I don't think I'm giving anything away here to say this, when you're talking about death and rape and abuse and sexual assault and infidelity, if we don't start talking about those things, that's episode, series, whatever you want to call it. Season two reached a lot of things that was in direct connection with this election. Hello, somebody. We have to talk about it. I was excited to talk to some, I guess they're Gen, I don't know, whatever, 28, 29, 30, 31 year olds are. I had a great conversation with them. Let's have this conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's talk, y'all. We got to. I don't know what we're gonna do, y'all. We got to. Kim Emerson says all the time, we're not going back. Covering you. Thank you. Deborah says this is so serious. We carry so much weight from past negative experience. We do. Y'all listen. I know y'all tired of me this morning, so let me get out of here. But this was today. This is what I wanted to share. Y'all keep hearing these dings. This is my son. Because the system is on. This is my son telling me he voted. Like, he's been like trying, he's like, the line was too long. I said, boy, just stay in line. He's letting me know that he voted. I'm glad you voted if you are tuning in. So anyway, let's get out of here, y'all. Tomorrow, again, just so that you know, this week we're here. Next week we're here. And then we'll either be breaking after next week until January. News and Motion is not going anywhere, y'all. We're coming back. Either it's going to be different though to some degree. Either we're breaking, or at the end of next week, or we're still going. If there's any trouble with the election, we will stay there. And anything that happens, even after we begin our break, if something happens, we will definitely come on here. If we feel a need to. So please make sure you subscribe and you set your alerts so that the moment I go live, your alert will go off as well. All right, y'all. Couple things real quick. Don't forget business owners. Deborah Johnson did an amazing workshop last week on writing. She has more workshops to come. She also sells greeting cards. So if you need greeting cards for the upcoming holiday, check with her to see if she's still accepting orders. She may be packed out already. She has some beautiful cards. She sent me one yesterday, had me crying. Davia William Stevenson is doing an amazing conference on November the 15th and 16th. Check with her. Check on her Facebook wall. She has information up there. Women, trust me, you want to be there for that. She also has her book that's out. Make sure you purchase her book. Deborah Johnson has a book coming out in November. I'll bring more information upon that. Adrian is still doing paparazzi. Latrice Jones is still doing paparazzi. Check them out. Y'all like this necklace? This top one up here is on, not this one, I have others, is on my Postmark store. You can go there and check it out to see. They're new. They have tags on them. They're new. Yeah, and I did pearls for a reason. There's also with the pink rhinestones and the fuchsia rhinestones. I'm trying to find the ones with the green rhinestones. If you're into that, that will be out there for you. I'm trying to think who else, business owners that are on here. Dr. Annette Jackson has, she's open for speaking engagements. Make sure you book her for what's happening. Shirley Nicholson says she's working at the polls again. Thank you. We'll be praying for you. Anyone with a business, go ahead and put it in the chat because I don't want to miss anybody, but I can't. The chat is going so quickly. I'm missing some people. Kim Edmondson, make sure y'all book her for y'all book her now. Coach invest in yourself. It's a coaching session, so it's going to cost money to meet with her. But let her help you look at investments going into 2025. Don't wait till 2025. Do it today. Do it today. Do it now. Let me skim this, see if I'm missing. Again, if you have a business, please just put it in there because I'm sure I'm missing people. But anyway, y'all know what I say. Oh, Devontae's still on here. So y'all bless the work that he's doing in Black media. Bless him. See what he's doing. Support his work out there as well. He has a lot going on. So make sure you take your time to check him out. All right, y'all, until tomorrow, I'm Gail Dudley. This has been News in Motion. Y'all know what I say. Stay well, everyone. And remember, make some bold moves. We're out.
News in motion.